Hello, I'm Kim. I'm an artist and designer, and I'm the face behind Kim McLean Art. I live and work on the mid north coast of New South Wales, which is a really beautiful area. And I mostly work in painting because I find that I love colour and painting is what makes me feel calm and peaceful. But I do work in some other media. I do some timber sculptures. I do a little bit of ceramics. I love to paint really big murals. I've been an artist for over, or probably around 30 years. And the reason I began um, creating was as a way to feel relaxed and happy and calm. So it worked quite well for me. And then I went on to study that at uni, which was with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. And I chose some subjects that were relating to the art and the brain and creativity and how that worked. And I was really interested in that side of it. So I'm still quite interested in art and creativity and well-being and health. Being a regional artist is great because you get to live and work in a really beautiful area. And you're surrounded by so much fabulous inspiration with bushland and beaches and things like that. The downside of it, though, is that there's a lack of opportunities for a regional artist um, to participate in, to maybe collaborate with other artists, or to have exhibitions, galleries. There's not many galleries to choose from, so I just find that that's probably the hardest thing about being a regional artist. The work of art programs introduced me to a lot of other artists that are in New South Wales, which has been really fantastic. It's basically been like a whole new artist community for me, which I've really loved. And I think it's given me a lot more confidence to talk about my art. And it's also expanded my horizons, and it's made me think about searching for other opportunities outside of my local area, which um, I think will be really good. So that's what I'm looking for now, is some other opportunities that I can look for in other areas.
Hi, I'm Karen. I'm a ceramic artist from Bucka, New South Wales, and I focus on hand building using coils to make large vessels. I've always been interested in art, early days since school, and never really touched much on ceramics. And during COVID, I sort of felt a bit lost. Had to be home, so I was looking for something to do. And so, yeah, after COVID, I enrolled in a TAFE course for a couple of years here at TAFE in Coffs Harbour and spent 2 years doing that. So I've just finished that diploma of ceramics, and I've just installed a kiln and set up a studio at home and just started making again. So I enjoy being a regional artist. I think the sense of community and connecting with the other artists as opposed to being in the city or a bit more removed, kind of nice to be able to sit back and be creative without the pressure of meeting a deadline or, getting that done by this time or and producing something that's not really from the heart. So I think being a regional artist, I think you're more relaxed, more chilled and yeah, more creative, I think, than living in the city. The work of art practice is helping me connect with other artists, not just the community ones, just a little bit broader, and understanding how they've set up their business. I'm in the early stages, so there's a mixture of people involved with no experience whatsoever, and then there's people that have established their businesses, that are setting up workshops and running their businesses, and that's been really inspiring to draw from their knowledge as well. We've already built established friendships within amongst the women, and we're doing peer sessions where we're able to vent our problems and find solutions. And then we have mentor um, sessions as well, where we've been assigned a mentor that's, it's been an artist for several years, and it's been great to actually throw ideas and have their support and sort of know you're on the right track. Sort of when you're setting up a business from scratch, you're sort of a little bit nervous and you're like, oh, am I doing the right things? But you've got them, their support along the way, and that's been, yeah, it's that's been a great help.
My name's Leah Dodd. I'm a visual artist from Coffs Harbour, New South Wales. I've always been a creative through primary school, high school, painting murals on my bedroom walls, studying design, though painting has always been more of a passion. As my children grew, so did my time to paint. My paintings certainly aren't serious. They're more of a whimsical view of a child's imagination. Being an artist in regional New South Wales, you rely on your relationships you build. You'll have some amazing opportunities through word of mouth. It's a personal experience. You know your customers. You you have a real sense of community. The Work of Art program run by Regional Arts New South Wales, it's brought a group of like-minded women together. We want to create and we want to succeed. Being part of the mentor program, meeting people who have been uh, artists for 40 years. It's pretty inspiring that you have this opportunity.
I'm Deb Michelle Smith. I'm from Narrabri in northwest New South Wales, and I'm the face behind Vintage Vogue Designs. I started painting again a few years ago. I studied art at uni straight after school and then settled down, had a family, and now I'm back making art again. And I love painting my stories. I love being a regional artist. I'm inspired by the places and spaces and the communities that I'm involved in. The work of art has helped me in my arts practice in a few different ways. Firstly, by getting me out of my comfort zone and making me think more. Secondly, the workshops and discussions that we've had both on Zoom and face to face have allowed me to become a part of a whole new creative community right across the state of New South Wales, which I probably wouldn't be a part of if I wasn't doing work of art. And thirdly, by encouraging me to set my goals and then really hit those goals. And all of these things have allowed me to move forward in my arts practice and really gain momentum. And I feel like I'm in a great space.
I'm Diane. I'm an abstract artist. I work in mixed media, mainly acrylics, and I'm based in Muswellbrook in the Hunter Valley. I've been an artist for almost 2 years. I started painting in 2022 during COVID, just as a creative hobby, just something for myself to enjoy. But once I started, I just couldn't stop. And now I will paint every opportunity that I have. I'm inspired by just life, emotions, colour is a big part of my practice as an abstract artist. I love using bright, vivid, saturated colour and working big. The bigger the canvas, the better. And I keep pushing the boundaries of what I can fit in my studio. um, I love being a regional artist because it's my happy place, it's my home. I grew up in the country. I do find that there are definitely challenges in terms of finding a community and feeling isolated, working on my own from home in my little studio, um, and just feeling, yeah, that sense of isolation and not having a network of people. And also in terms of access to materials, even just the cost of freight for regional people to get large canvases shipped down can be quite difficult. So there are a few things that are challenging, but all in all, I love working in the country. I love being a regional artist. Work of art has been an amazing opportunity especially so early in my career, only having been a painter for a couple of years, it's opened me up to a lot of opportunities I wouldn't have had. I am able to be mentored by an Archibald Prize winning artist, which I didn't think that was even possible. So that's been amazing. And just building a network, building a community, meeting all the other participants. They're amazing women. They're so diverse and supportive, and everyone's here for the right reasons, for the same reasons. And yeah, it's been fantastic.
Hi, I'm Leanne Atkins. I'm also known as Annie, and I'm from Dungog in the Lower Hunter Valley. And my arts practice is visual art, painting, and my business is called Annie's Artworks. I've created ever since I was a child. After school, I studied at TAFE and then university doing a Bachelor of Arts. My major was photography and printmaking. I fell into painting because I love the tactile. I love the feel of the paint. I also love to draw. In 2014, I went on to do a Diploma of Visual Arts, and since I've created Annie's Artworks, and I've been selling a lot of my product and my original artwork in the valley at the wineries at Pecolbin. I have enjoyed being a regional artist and working with the Work of Art program. I've met some very creative women in all different types of creative practices. We've talked about the issues we have, the inspiration, where our inspiration comes from, and we've worked through a lot of issues that we have. It doesn't matter what sort of creative practice we're in, we all have similar issues. I think having that community feel, even though that we are 70 women and we're from all around regional New South Wales, if we were in the city, I don't think we'd have that close-knit community feel. It's actually inspired me to keep going. It's given me some fantastic business pointers that I didn't think that I needed, but obviously do, to keep my creative practice going. It's made me aware of time management and how I prepare my business to move forward for the future.
My name is Lizzie Horn, and for the last 2 years I've been the director of the New England Contemporary Print Gallery in Armidale, which is a studio, gallery and workshop space dedicated to printmaking in its many forms. And I'm also a printmaker as well as a painter, writer, actor and sculptor, but mainly a printmaker. When I was a child, my nickname was Ink. My brothers nicknamed me Ink, and when I became a writer, I thought that was prophetic, ink. But then when I became a printmaker and there is ink all over the place, that's what it was all about. Printmaking I've been doing for a bit over a decade, but I feel as though that's part of a bigger story that involves also having been a writer and an actor. It's all from a wellspring of creativity that insists on reproducing the world to try to make sense of it, to tell stories and to show things from another perspective. My inspiration is twofold. Part of it is just about process. Printmaking is fascinating in terms of process, whether it's dry point or sugar lift etching or silk screen or lino cut. All these different forms of printmaking are very process oriented. The thing about the regions is that you do have some disadvantages. For instance, trying to enter art competitions in the city where they physically want your work. Very hard for people from regional Australia to do that. But there are so many advantages because the cost of living is much lower and things tend to be easier to access. So it doesn't take me an hour and a half to get across town. Even if something's 100 kilometres away, it doesn't take me an hour and a half. I'm really aware of being able to do things in the regions that I might not be able to do in Sydney or Melbourne. Work of art has really made me look carefully at my goals and to separate the goals for my company, which is the New England Contemporary Print Gallery, and my sole trader business, Lizzie Horn Creative, into two different baskets, if you like. I was tending to put aside my personal arts practice for the gallery, which meant really I was working for everybody else and not for myself. It's also shown me where I'm missing out on things that I'm not doing, but also where I am doing things right. It's really important to know, yep, I'm doing that. Yep, I'm ticking those boxes. So that affirmation is really important. And gee whiz, I've learned heaps of things. Being connected to this creative community of women in regional Australia is just fantastic.
My name is Michelle Jedlicka, and I am a writer, a filmmaker, a photographer, and a community arts worker. And I live on a property outside Delungra, New South Wales. My inspiration for being an artist has been everything in my life, and I can't recall a time that I haven't been involved or influenced or created something in the arts from when I was a child till I'm 54. It's been a guiding force from things I've read, things I've seen, the world I live in, the people I meet, streets I walk down, everything. I started making films a few years ago, almost kind of by accident, but what I find is it's difficult to get support that I could have because of where I live. It's very difficult for me to look for opportunities because I have a property that I have to look after. I can't just walk away from it. So as a result, I I have the films that I make are completely self-funded. I'm often the only actor in my films. I write, I produce, I edit, and I finish all of my films by myself. And my learning process has been vertical because it's, it's like sound editing, um, color editing, all the things I need to do. And I don't have a feedback. I, I, I don't have a place where I can go to get a sounding board. And it would be a lot easier, I think, if I was in an urban environment because there are companies and there are so many more people working in the industry that I could at least get ideas from or be on a set and watch things happen. That just does not happen where I live. But it's made me very resilient as a filmmaker, and I'm determined. I'm already thinking about my next project and what I'll do. When I applied for work of art, I had a different idea in mind about what I wanted to do. In the process of doing this, that idea went from sort of bolstering a foundation for a business identity to me realizing that to get to where I'm maybe used to be as an artist 20 years ago meant that I had to turn everything upside down and I had to prioritize my work over everything. I thought if I don't take this opportunity and the resources that I've learned, which have been amazing, and focus those on my own work, I will never get there in time because of my age and because of where I live. So that's what I've been doing. And it's been a phenomenal experience because I have gained so much confidence in myself and what I do. And I've got to meet people that make me feel like I'm not crazy because all these women have similar stories. And so I don't feel so isolated. I think there are women on these little islands of towns all over New South Wales, just like me, who think that they have imposter syndrome or they have a lack of confidence in their own work to put it out there, or they feel like they're alone. And I don't feel so alone now. And I realize that this is a shared experience, which has really been fantastic. I just think being part of a big thing that acknowledges the hardships and the accomplishments that I feel like I can make or have made or have had to overcome or am overcoming, it feels like such a relief because there's so many other women in the same situation as me. So that's been really good about this program. It's been invaluable. So I'm grateful that it's been an opportunity I could take part in.
G'day, I'm Mary Maygill and I'm a filmmaker and a social media content creator. I was born an artist, but I wouldn't really call myself an artist. I'm more a creative. My first part of my career was in the music industry, so I was very lucky to tour the world and see amazing places and get to perform in some incredible locations. And later on in my career, I've moved to film and I'm now telling other people's stories behind the camera, which is fabulous. I kind of just fell into film. It was not my chosen career, to be honest with you. A friend of mine who ran a film company called Rabbit Hop Films was desperately trying to get people to come and work for her business because it was going really well. Ag films have just taken off for social media and she was just desperate to get somebody to help her out because she was getting snowed under. She tried to get people from the cities to come out and they wouldn't. I was a friend of hers and I was sort of just doing little silly videos. I kind of just fell into it and it was just fantastic. It was almost like finding something that you just go, so I can do this now. Especially after sort of finishing music, I had a little bit of a sort of a period where it was like, what am I going to do now? But film just fell into my lap and that's fantastic. Being a regional or a rural creative, I think it's fantastic in the way that you really have to make your own work in a lot of ways. It comes down to you to really push and get your work done. You don't have as many opportunities as in the city. So if you wanted to enter a film festival, maybe you just have to start your own. Being regional really, or rural or isolated, really makes you self-sufficient and you have your boundaries and you learn to just work within those boundaries and create. And I think you get a lot more opportunities in some strange way. I got to work with Rachel Ward and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't lived in a rural area. So with the work of art, I definitely had an understanding of business and marketing, but it's always felt out of focus. And so with the work of art laying down a roadmap and really sort of giving us, once again, sort of a structure, it just brought everything into sharp focus. And so now I've got a really clear sight of where I really want to take this business. And it's just been amazing to have that and also to have now a network of wonderful women to be dealing with or to work with or to ask questions. And also I think because we don't get much of an opportunity in regional areas to hear other people's stories, like you just think you're in your own little bubble and it's like, oh, these problems are all just my own. And then you realise, no, everybody else is having the same issues. How do we figure this out? And so the work of art has just been superb for that kind of thing.
My name's Penny Fraser. I'm a textile artist practicing here in Tamworth, New South Wales on the unceded lands of the Gomeroi people. I've been making art all my life, I think, as most creative people have. It's only been recently that I've started to get a desire to want to share that work and be in the arts community as a practicing artist. I guess I take a lot of inspiration from traditional crafts, domesticity. So the way that crafts relate to women throughout history, the way that crafts have existed as storytelling, like as vessels for storytelling. So I really like where art, craft, domesticity function. Like I like to explore where they all meet. and the relationship between all of those things. And I also like exploring how to reuse materials, how to repurpose materials in that work. So my hope is that I'm able to create sort of functional works with traditional craft practices, but that are a work of art. The work of art's been really helpful for my arts practice in giving me some tools around goal setting. Creative practice in regional New South Wales is both challenging and really exciting. I think at times it presents opportunities that maybe our metropolitan counterparts don't actually have access to because of the nature of regional Australia and the nature of these sort of smaller arts practicing communities. So, just purely by geographic locale, you are often exposed to different practices that you might not necessarily pursue or experience in the city because there's lots of opportunities for your singular practice. So I think that it has its own challenges in terms of cultural opportunities. Something that drives me in creative practice in regional New South Wales is that I feel that by being a creative practitioner and by being an arts worker in regional New South Wales, I'm actively creating a landscape where my children will have more access to cultural opportunities while they're growing up, and maybe more access to cultural careers in regional New South Wales.
My name is Tani Struban. I'm from Moree and I make textile animal sculptures. I started making my sculptures in 2019 and my inspiration came from horses and doll makers. I wanted to make my first horse doll and I just adopted like doll making techniques and stuff, but then I also just invented my own with trial and error and came up with my own ways of putting them together, and they've just evolved from dolls, like animal art dolls, into sculptures. I love being in a regional area because I can have my horses around, and that's my inspiration. I've grown up in the country as well, so that's probably a lot to do with it as well. The challenges is just not being like, I guess, not having everything right at your doorstep. So yeah, working around that in finding materials and um, connecting with people as well. The work of art program has helped me connect to a large group of people across New South Wales with all different creative backgrounds, and it's helped me build up confidence and um, just a better understanding of how to run a creative business as well.
Hi, I'm Maria Shaw. I'm an artist here in Orange on Wiradjuri land. I work with clay to explore texture, so I call myself a ceramic artist, mostly because I don't make functional ware, I make decorative pieces. I've been a potter for 5 years, and that was mostly because I fell in love with the medium. I love being a regional artist because I get such a strong sense of community. I have a lot of people that I know are interested in my work and that I can call on to come to an exhibition opening. I don't feel like I'm a small fish in a big pond, but I don't feel like I'm a big fish either. Like I feel like I'm kind of in the right spot. The work of art program has been really helping me with my art practice through giving me small business skills, because I think I didn't realize how much art is also being a business owner. I don't think that I've been exposed to anything that's been as flexible, that it's something that's really great from this course.
My name is Ikiko Fujisawa from Japan. I'm living in Orange, New South Wales. I'm an abstract painter using Sumi ink. painting on a Chinese rice paper. I started learn calligraphy when I was 4 years old in Japan. That was a very popular practicing lesson for kids to get good writing skills. Originally, I didn't like arts. The painting class, so I hated in school. I didn't like it. So I just practiced calligraphy. It's not art. That's calligraphy. It's like writing Chinese characters, something like that. So, but my teacher, he was a little bit modern, not a traditional calligraphy teacher. He recommended to us to learn Western style arts. So he encouraged the student to using different way, using swimming, 3D, or maybe like abstract paintings. So, I'm not artist who really loves paintings. I'm not. Living in regional area is good for me to connect with local people, to get into the communities. I met a small art group, and then that is a start point to practice art and join to the art society. Then start to produce 2 artworks every year. And then I shown my previous artworks to Brad Hammond. And then he remembered my artworks, and he gave me the chance to have an exhibition here. So I was very lucky. Yeah, work of art connected me to another artist who living in another area, and then I can share my problem issues as an artist with another female artist.
My name is Jodie. I am a Wiradjuri woman. I currently live and work in Goulburn, so Gundungurra country in the Southern Tablelands in New South Wales. I paint, draw, and weave. Weaving is probably one of the biggest parts of my practice at the moment. 12 years ago, I started my own business, Creative Art, after being highly creative and interested in art through my whole life. A lot of my practice involves multifaceted aspects of my heritage. So I'm actually Aboriginal and Celtic. So yeah, I use a lot of different aspects from both of my cultures to include in my work. So I've been creating for as long as I can remember, all the way through school. Probably one of my biggest inspirations and supports was my high school art teacher. Also, my family are massively supportive of what I do. I actually really enjoy weaving because it's working with product from country and it's really sustainable. Caring for country and making sure we never take any more than we need and making sure country is healthy is a massive thing for me. So actually working with natural products or recycled products is a massive part of my practice. And it's really, I get lost when I weave. It's very meditative. I don't really know how it would be different if I was in the city because I've never really had anything to do with the city other than high anxiety levels when I go there. But as far as living in a regional area, I love the fact that I'm actually working with my community. And it's like the people that you see at openings or at your workshops or in the art space, they're not just another artist, like they actually become your friends, like within the art circle and not within the art circle, because rural communities can be a lot more close-knit and more supportive of each other. So the Work of Art program has actually really helped me as far as the business side goes. I don't think I'm the only creative person when I say this. We love to create, but all the other stuff sort of can just sit over there in the background and we'll just create it and magical things will happen, but don't talk to us about tax or invoicing or all these other things because it's not creative and it doesn't interest me. But I have learnt through creative art that there are better ways to do, like through work of art, that there are better ways to do those things and different ways to actually approach stuff so you don't feel like you're chasing your tail as far as the paperwork goes. And also another really big thing that I've learnt from doing this program is that my family does have a place in my business. Like, instead of trying to run it like there's my family and there's my business, like my business model is now based on it's their one thing, not lots of different things. Like if it doesn't fit with my family, then I don't need to do it.
My name's Kathy Graham. I'm from Broken Hill, which is in the far west of New South Wales. I am a fine artist, which is mainly made up of a practice of pottery and weaving and some design work and some drawings. And I'm also a musician. I've been an artist since a child. I think every child is an artist, which most people probably appreciate, but most people also grow out of it. So I started making art as soon as I could hold a pencil. I continued doing it when I was a child, then I sort of lost touch a little bit. And then in my 20s, I discovered pottery, and that totally reinvigorated my want and my need to be an artist as well. So I love the texture of the art of the pottery. I love the connection that you have with the material when you're making it, especially on the wheel, how it forms in your hands, and the mess is always good. And then I discovered weaving, and I loved weaving just as much as I love pottery. So now my practice actually combines the two. Being a regional artist is probably one of the best things you can be as an artist because you go out the back door, you've got inspiration, you've got huge skies, you've got huge landscapes, you've got beautiful colours, you've got colours coming through your landscape, you've got nature, which is incredibly inspiring. You can go for long walks in creek beds and you can find things on the ground, on the sand that are actually designs made by nature that you would never see anywhere else. So you're immediately surrounded by inspiration as an artist. You've also got really close connection to community that help you develop as an artist. They can be brutally honest. So if you're going off on the wrong track, someone will tell you. If you're on the right track, you're going to have a lot of support. And as an artist, that is really important. Probably the challenges of being a regional artist is that in some ways, if you want opportunities, you've really got to go looking for them. And when they come, you can't be scared to grab them. We are separated by a lot of distance from other artists, so sometimes it's hard to stay in tune and get that inspiration from other artists, but we don't have that. We make up for that in our environment. Being involved with the work of art has actually guided me into more of a business mind and away from the artist mind because they're completely different. An artist mind doesn't care how a business works. They don't want to crunch numbers. They don't want to do timetables. They just want to go and do their own thing, make their own art and have a lot of fun doing it, which doesn't always align with good business sense. So work of art has helped me come back to the very basics of having a business, basics as in registering a name, a business name, and having separate accounts and all that, all those important things that a average business person would know, but the average artist probably wants to ignore. So that's been super handy doing it that way.
I am Lulu Wolf. I am from Wiradjuri country, Bathurst, and I am a painter of all varieties, I guess. I curate and I'm an arts worker. I feel like it was pretty inevitable that I became an artist. My mother is an artist, my brother and my sister. I'm from a creative family. So it's always been around. But I started studying art when I was at university. I had acquired a brain injury and it wasn't going well, so my mum found me a course to do and enrolled me in it, and it was only going to be for a year, but that turned into 2 years, and that turned into a career. I studied in oil painting and watercolor. I use acrylic when I'm lazy. I don't want to say that, but I do use acrylic when I'm lazy. It's less of a commitment, it's less intimidating, I suppose. But I am also interested in printing, so I'll do the dry point etching, I'll do lino prints. Being creative, I'll probably want to try most things at least once. The regions are the place to be. They're amazing. I studied in Melbourne and it was so competitive. I moved back to Bathurst because of COVID, and I was just immediately welcomed in by artists, lifelong artists, very well established, very, very professional artists, and they're coming to me with residencies and opportunities and help. They just want to help, and you're welcome. It's quite nice. Work of art has shown me a really wonderful community. It's taught me things that I didn't know that I needed to know. I hadn't really looked further in my practice than making and exhibiting art, learning how to market myself and my target audience and how to do all of that kind of stuff is very interesting and very worthwhile. But it also has given us all a community of artists just like me.
Hello, my name is Sig Peters. I am from Cobar and my arts practice is visual arts, but I actually am a creative business owner that travels across rural New South Wales to bring fun and creative workshops to rural people. I would say I've always been an artist, but I think when you're becoming an artist, you don't actually believe you are one until somebody tells you that you're one. So I feel like for me, I've always had a creative practice, but more so over the last 4 years, I would say I've taken myself a little bit more seriously in calling myself an artist. So being a regional artist, I think for me is part of my inspiration, and it's actually the people as to why I do what I do. And so when you live in a rural setting, you don't get many opportunities to connect with others, to be creative or come together as a community. So my inspiration is the people and to provide them with opportunities to be creative, try something new, think outside the box, pick up a paintbrush for the first time in their life, even when they're 60. I think there's lots of good things that come from being creative. And so my inspiration as a regional artist is to literally provide a space, a safe space for people to connect, well-being, and to just try something, start a hobby maybe. So for me, being a regional artist is quite important for me because I think it's the people that have pushed me to where I am today. And I think living in a regional area, it's so amazing because they support you straight away without even questioning it, whether or not you're good or not. They just back you, they give you your support. And I think that would be quite different in a city setting where you're another face, you're another name, whereas when you're in the bush and you're an artist, people are pretty amazed by you having a go of something that's so left field for them. So I think for me, to be a regional artist is really important, and I think we need them. We need them out the bush. We need the creativity, we need the inspiration, and it's something that has provided so much joy for communities across rural areas. I think for me, work of art has validated that being an artist is an actual profession. I think when you grow up on a sheep and cattle station north of Cobar, being an artist isn't really seen as a job. So I think when I've had an opportunity to meet other people in different industries that are artists, it's given me the validation I needed to know that it is a real thing and it's something that's quite important and that you can chase those dreams as an artist. So, work of art for me, being able to, I guess, meet all different types of people from all different types of areas that are all doing pretty cool things, has given me the chance to know that I'm on the right track. And so I think that's what the work of art mainly has given me.
I'm TC Overson. My arts practice is in Portland, where I'm a mixed media artist, a bit of a combination between sculpture and drawing, really. It's a very personal story. My brother died, um, and so I got into art through the fact that I had given him a number of gifts. He was suffering some mental anguish, and I had given him a lot of art materials to distract him from his worries. When he died, I found everything unopened in his baggage, and I kept it. I started to use it, and it was like tragic because he was my darling, and it was his stuff that he told me he was using, but he wasn't. But it was magnificent because the first thing I drew was his face, and you could have blown me down when I saw it coming out through my hand, and it was his face. It was Nick's face, and it was astounding. And it was a form of meditation, and it was a form of being with him and any other subject that I was drawing. So I always thought of it as Nick's gift. That was my inspiration. I hadn't been an artist before then, so it's been about 15, 20, oh God, 17 years since I took up art, and it became more and more serious to me. So I decided to study it, to take it up full time. I'm really enjoying being a regional artist, even though we don't have the culture around us that you get used to in a city and you start to take for granted even. You have the space, and space is a wonderful thing when you're an artist, particularly when you're doing anything to do with sculpture and large scale works. They are hard to do in the city where like a wardrobe space of, of studio is phenomenally expensive. I was lucky that I came out here. It happened quite accidentally. I won an award from the foundations and Harry Fasher, and it was to come out and do a residency in Portland for a month. Well, now 2 years later, I'm still there and I'm working there and I'm still doing the residency there. And in return for the residency, I work for them, I administer for them as well. So it's a wonderful, wonderful life. Mm. I found the work of art program amazing. It's really helped me because no artist is practical. If you were practical, you just wouldn't be an artist, would you? And no artist likes numbers, except maybe Jasper Johns. He painted them, but he probably didn't like actually adding them up or worrying about them. So the work of art has made me much more confident in being my own boss, seeing that I can make a career of what I'm wanting to do with the rest of my life. And it's given me the skills to do so. But it's also introduced me to so many amazing women. And I know that through the years, even though the state of New South Wales is so big, the arts community is quite small and quite close-knit. Having been to the National Arts School, well, I know that the people that I met there are going to be close to my practice and my heart and my soul forevermore. And I'm now starting to realize that these women, these amazingly strong women from all different backgrounds and talent with different talents, they're going to be part of it too. And that's a gift.
Hi, I'm Elaine Camlin. I'm based in Wagga and I'm a printmaker. I have a studio, Unique State Art Space, where we do printmaking workshops, and I work with community and NDIS participants as a registered art therapist. So I've been an artist for as long as I can remember. I wanted to be an artist when I was even in kindergarten, and I think probably what brought me to art was maybe that I didn't fit in so well at school, felt a little bit different, had different interests. So I didn't like sport, I wasn't particularly interested in academics, and so I would just sit and draw. And I had a family that was very supportive, and so then I went to art school in Canberra and have made it my career ever since. So I've worked in galleries, I've worked in art collections, art materials supply stores, and now obviously own my own business and hope to foster that love of art for lots of other people as well. Really love the process of printmaking. So you start with something and you either scratch into it or carve into it or you paint onto it, and then everything is mirrored, and it's not quite how you imagine. So I really love the steps that it takes to create a print and the repetition of creating an edition, and I just love working with paper. So I love the feeling of paper, whether that's printmaking or drawing, or I've done little small sculptures with paper mache. I just love the feeling of paper. It's quite an obsession, really. And I think printmaking's a really lovely community as well. So printmakers connect across Australia, connect across the world through their shared love of printmaking, and so you feel like you're really welcomed within that broader community as well. So what I really love about being a regional artist is that I have a lot of time and space to consider my practice. So life itself isn't so loud or busy. The natural environment is something that I'm really interested in representing and responding to in my artwork. And I think that if I lived in a bigger city, that I probably would feel a bit overwhelmed. I also find that having small communities also allows you to find your people more easily, and create really great connections, and we're all very supportive of one another. I really love working in regional contexts is offering experiences and showing young people what it's like to stay in communities, or if they do move away to study, to come back. And I think it's a much more supportive space. I know that if I was in cities, it would be a lot harder to get into arts jobs. There's a lot more. There'd be a lot more competition, and I do know that the common thread among regional people is that they say that they really love their community. I think the difficulties and the struggles is access to certain resources. So as a printmaker, having limited resources with etching and aqua tinting, and I know there's other practitioners who find resources and spaces to exhibit in and things like that are harder to find, few and far between, or they might end up exhibiting in the same place over and over again. And so, and it is quite difficult to show your work in cities if you don't work and live within those settings. The Work of Art program has been really great for my art practice. It's helped me because I've been able to connect with other women across New South Wales living in different regional contexts. So some of the things that we discuss and address are very similar across different communities, but then there are also diverse challenges. And so you're actually learning and hearing from other people about what that looks like, and it gives you a more holistic view on the arts. I've also really enjoyed being able to talk and meet practitioners across multiple fields. So predominantly most of the people that I would be connected to further afield than Wagga would all be within the printmaking community, but having this program, it's brought together musicians, authors, designers, photographers, everything, any creative practice, and that's really exciting to see what everyone's doing. And creating connections, so ongoing connections, peer engagement, and professional development so that I can sustain my practice and my business for years to come.
My name is Elise Fisher. I am a performing artist and project manager based in Albury, Wodonga, and my company's name is Theatre on Toast. If you ask my parents, I have been dramatic since birth, and I guess I've just always had a yearning to be a performer. I love the stage, love how it makes me feel. I love sharing stories, and that sort of drew me into the professional world, or studying theatre arts at university. And so I guess I've been a practicing making money out of my art artist for 16 years now. I have lived in both metro and regional, but grew up regional. Um, I think now it is a lot easier to be a regionally based artist than it was 10, 20 years ago. There are a lot of opportunities available to regional artists, and there's a lot more opportunity for collaboration, I think, in regional arts because there is less of us in the space. So the opportunity to create really great working relationships with those near you, I think, is a really valuable part of living regionally. And I think that those barriers of distance have really been eliminated in the last 10 years due to advances in technology, and the consequences of the pandemic means that we are able to do so much more in the digital space before we have to get into a physical space. Um, it's been really nice to do something that uh, is dedicated to me as a freelancer. I feel like I do a lot of things that are more, maybe specialized in a particular area of performing arts or specialized in a particular area of project management, whereas something that focuses on the holistic approach behind my business, I think is really unique. Obviously, being only for women, and only for those based in regional New South Wales is incredibly unique. And I've just enjoyed the slow build, I think, of the program as well. So it's like a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's slowly getting a little bit um, more involved as we go through the program.
Hi, I'm Carm Hogan. I'm from Corowa, New South Wales. I'm the Artistic Director of Performance Lab, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and I work in theatre and music. I've been working in the arts all of my life. I was a performing arts teacher for many years, and now I'm studying drama therapy at Melbourne Uni in a master's. And my inspiration was my mum on a city holiday took us to a theatre production, and I was gobsmacked and mesmerised and have been chasing it ever since. I've lived both in the city, but I grew up in the country. I think I make better art in the country, and I love the community support. My community have supported me by providing me with a studio in which I can make and create and share that with the community as well. I like the fact that it's so much easier. I don't have to pay for parking. It's just easy living in the country, and I live on the river, and I couldn't be happier. The work of art program for me has been integral in that have changed my art making process, and it's just been the beautiful stepping stone in order to be really professional about it, to take it up to the next level. And the most useful and enjoyable aspect is making connections with other artists out there. I knew they existed, but I'd never really met them. So it's just made it a lot less lonely making art in the country.
My name's Claire Peters and I'm a writer. I focus mainly on books, but also poetry, communications, and that type of thing. I'm from Golgol in New South Wales. I love everything creative. I've been a writer since I can remember, and that's taken on a number of different forms, whether that's been songwriting, lyrics, poetry, stories, anything that comes to mind. I like to take inspiration from a number of different things. Recent projects have been around nature, around where I live, but I also love things that are deeply from the imagination. So I've lived in a number of different areas, whether that's suburbs, in the city, overseas as well. I love living in the regions and drawing inspiration from the communities that are there and also nature as well. It can be hard to make connections with people, especially when there can be a lot of distance between others, so physical distance, but I found that there's a really tight community in the regional areas. So I have loved being a part of this program, being able to meet a number of different other creators that I wouldn't have been able to meet otherwise. So strengthening those connections with people that are in the creative industry. And also it's given me the confidence to be able to get out there, apply for grants, really take advantage of things that are out there to be able to pursue my projects.
So my name's Catherine Sharp. My poet name is Catherine Sharp Lewis. I'm a published poet and author, and I am currently living in Griffith. I've been writing ever since I knew what writing was. I wrote my first book when I was 4 years old. I dictated, my mum wrote the words, and I drew the pictures. Yeah, writing's just a part of who I am. As I grew up in a literary family, being strong in English is just part of my world. Writing mostly for me is just about processing emotion and helping other people to experience different ways of living. Through this program, I've made friends here. It's really cool. And found some of my people. So yeah, that's been really good. So it's helped me to focus my attention and realize what I actually want to work towards. And I think that over the next few years, I personally am going to see forward movement in where I want to get to because of what we've been learning here.
I'm Ginny Reid from Deniliquin, east of Denny, and on a sheep and cropping farm. Well, I've always been creative, but mainly as a food producer in my early years. And then once the kids finished boarding school and my duties on the farm became lesser and lesser, and then we exited the large farm to a smaller farm, I had the headspace to move on to something that's probably a bit more calming and different areas of creativity, and that's when I started painting. So it was lovely, and now I've got the time and the energy that, yeah, and the situation that we're in where we are is perfect for it. So I think that it all just came together at the same time. Where we live east of Deniliquin, you can see from horizon to horizon. There's nothing in between. You can't get that in the city, especially on sunset, sunrise, to get that expanse. In the city, I think it's probably more studio focused, unless you can get down the beach or into other areas. But regional artists, I think you've really got a lot more space to play with, a lot more freedom. I think it's more a creative space to be in. It smells different, feels different, and the colours different, completely different. So, but the other challenges of that is distance and cost, you know, just your resources and classes, tuition, professional development. It comes down to a lot more trial and error, whereas I think you could go to a class to learn it. I've had to learn the hard way, so it's taken longer. Just meeting the other artists, even in Deniliquin, there are 3 of us representing our small area, and we didn't know each other that well. So we've met each other, and just I think that they've become the glue to stick it all together. And I think there's 65 of us across an enormous area. I think that's fantastic. We would never have had the opportunity to meet each other otherwise.
Hi, I'm Linda Nolan, and I'm an artist in Ganmain. I have a gallery in Ganmain called Lush Creative Galleries. It was created only a year ago, and I am the teacher there and artist of that gallery. I've been painting for a long time, but I never called myself an artist. Sold some works, and now I'm teaching art. I have a different mindset. And now I will call myself an artist because I'm practicing, I'm teaching, and it just took a lot of time to get that confidence. Being a regional artist is the ants pants. Like, I love it because it's like you're so grounded compared to the city. And working in Coffs Harbour was just so busy. And whereas in the country, I feel so much more relaxed and calm and energized from the country around me. And the difference is huge for me. Yeah. The Work of Art program is awesome. It's opened my eyes to the, the challenges I knew I had, but it's sort of put them in boxes. It's given me some direction. Whether I follow that or not is my own choice, or, and finding the time to do that. But the the arts program has been amazing, connecting with other like-minded artists. I have to say that's the best thing for me. But I have people I can call upon when I'm stuck in the business world of my art. So that has been fantastic. I'd recommend it to anyone.
I'm Mel Anderson. I am from Deniliquin in southwest Riverina on the Edward River. I'm a visual artist, primarily a potter. I work with wild clay. I make my own glazes. It's very much site specific and in response to the landscape. I've also been a graphic designer and a digital maker, and I've utilised photography and printmaking as well. And so it's multidisciplinary, but I'm trying very hard at the moment to pull them all together from the one space. I'm a visual artist. I've always made art. Art is really important to me as a human being and as a person. I was a potter from the first time I played with clay when I was 10 years old, and I made lots of little people and there were stories, and I've still got all those old pieces. So as time went by, I came back and revisited my ceramics work when I was probably 19. I took a year off making art and I went, no, I can't do this. I need to make art. And I went back to ceramics and started to learn over 10 years all the technical stuff and started to make my own glazes, started to find my own clay, and I've been making pots for 30 years. It's really important for me as an artist to have headspace, which is not always being around people. I love interacting with people, but they exhaust me. So in the place I live in front of a regional park. I can go for a walk, I can be part of nature, and I can just kind of unwind. And that's really important for me to have that space. I feel less stress than when I was living in Sydney, although I did live on an island and I did have to take a boat to the mainland. And this is a different space for me. And it's wider, it's bigger. And in a lot of ways, it's helping me change me because in response to the environment, I'm
able to become bigger. The work of art has just been so wonderful because I've met so many inspirational women, people who are doing amazing things, which then gives me faith, confidence, and motivation and excitement that I can do these things as well. Provided accountability, helped me with stuff to take myself more seriously, to take my art to the next level and make a living from that, which is what I'm trying to do.
My name is Megan. I am a multidisciplinary artist starting my own slow fashion brand called Mookie. I live in Broken Hill, New South Wales. So I graduated from university with a Bachelor of Visual Arts in 2019. And I've always been, wanting to do something like I was always going to do something creative in my life. Like I always wanted to be an artist when I was growing up. And the fashion thing kind of came like secondary, turning, I guess, more towards textile design during 2020 when COVID happened. And I figured out, like, oh, I really want to do something with this. When I got involved with the Work of Art program, that's when things really started. I guess I really started to focus on it and like take it seriously and look at it as something that could actually work and make money. Yeah. Living in regional New South Wales, yeah, it's very different to living, I guess, elsewhere. Like I'm from Queensland, Sunshine Coast, so like that's a huge lifestyle change. Wherever I'm living, the location is going to have an impact on my arts practice. I love living in a small town because it has that really strong sense of community that you don't get living in the city. So it's just it just feels really nice and homey and so warm. Work of art has really helped me so far just to kind of realize what is possible. Before getting into this program, I like had this vague idea of like, oh, maybe I'll try starting a fashion brand. But it was very much like I don't think I was really taking it seriously or myself seriously as like I don't know, I just I didn't have any kind of visualization of like how to achieve those goals, do these like workshops and like get that industry knowledge and um I guess yeah, just talk to people about finding out how to do those things as well.
Hi, my name is Nina, and I like to make cards and bookmarks. I create a mantra. I've been making my cards and my bookmarks for 3 years. I draw. It's fun. I sometimes I do markets. Not yet. I'm going to. Wagga. My home. I like going for walks. Somewhere quiet. Okay. Oh yeah. I like meeting new people.
Hi, I'm Narelle Whittam. I'm an artisan. I'm a multidisciplined artist who paints, writes, and I'm an advocate for people with unseen disabilities. I am on the board of directors of a few different groups within my community, and I promote rural mental health wellness. I've been creating art since I was a child, so does that class as a career? Maybe, not sure. But it wasn't until 2014 when I actually became sick that I had to change careers and got a little bit lost and found that art became a creative outlet for myself. And then it slowly developed further and further. And I had my first art exhibition in 2016, wrote my first book in 2016, and then I went on to actually designing programs for regional arts. Art Relief was one of my biggest projects, which was free art workshops for drought-affected communities. And then COVID hit, so my programs went online. And recently, I have been working with my local council and Accessible Arts Australia to promote art and disabilities. I absolutely think my art practice would be completely different if I lived in the city, because I wouldn't be able to draw on the beautiful landscapes that I have in regional outback Australia, which a lot of my artwork is based on. The Work of Arts program has helped me actually realise that being an artist is only one minor part of what I want to be as a person and what I want to develop my art business into. And I want to see that people with unseen disabilities or who are disadvantaged can have a more louder voice in mainstream industries and hopefully be able to advocate and have an impact in that area within regional Australia, and hopefully then bring it to the cities.
My name is Rebecca, and I'm a visual artist, and my business is Beck Cutler Artist. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, so I do everything from painting, sculpture, and different techniques. I'm from Ganmain. It's a little town in the Coolamon Shire. I use a lot of natural fibers, so I do use a lot of like wool. So I do a lot of like felting, things like that. Cotton, silk, like linens, all the different cellulose like bamboo and all those sorts of fabrics and things as well. And then yeah, my girls call me being a bit of a bowerbird because I collect things. So I see something and yeah, I can usually kind of say, oh, I can use this for that, or reuse that as something else within like a sculpture or yeah. So that's what I do. If I was in the city, I think I'd probably still be doing a similar type, like have a similar focus. I do find down in the regional areas, it is a lot more difficult because there is maybe less outlets for you to maybe display your art or get your art out there and known. Whereas in the city, maybe there's a bit more of artists, maybe communities and opportunities for that type of thing. So maybe that's probably one of the downsides of maybe being in a regional area is it is quite isolating being an artist. So it's nice to hear stories from other artists that you can kind of like relate to and sort of think, oh yeah, I feel that way too, and you sort of think you're not the only one that's going through that, or and so I think that's been really good, and it's also been really good for me that it's helped me kind of focus. On what I think I really want to develop in my art, what I want to do. So I think it's helped me to sort of set a few goals and that sort of thing. So looking forward.
I'm Rach Visky. I am a graphic designer and I work with community to create large-scale envirographics for site-specific artworks in hospitals. I can trace my onlyness or my superpower back to the 90s when I was a kid running barefoot on a farm and my siblings and I were driving our poor mother crazy. And she said, kids, why don't you paint the dunny wall? So we went out to the shed. We didn't know what we were looking for, whether it was oil-based or water-based or acrylic or whatever it is. We just created. And we made that dunny wall our own personal art gallery. Much to Mum's delight, we were finally getting along, and that was through making art together. So as I've gotten older, I've actually been able to track some patterns, and I've always been drawn to large scale artwork. And I can only think that that summer back in the 90s was what sparked that first passion. I feel like there are advantages as well as disadvantages to being a creative person in regional New South Wales. The advantages are the space, the creative freedom we have with being surrounded by bush and native animals. The disadvantages would probably be the access to information online and transferring files with the intermittent internet connection that we can often experience. So if I had to dig deep, it would probably be the internet. But we live in an age now where we can work remotely, and the teams that I'm working with at the moment are across Australia. So we have had some successes from that, and I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage. The main objective for me when I first signed up for Work of Art was to connect with other creative people in my industry, living in my backyard or not too far away. And I really just wanted to get together with people and chew the fat and figure out what goes on in their head and what goes on in mine and have that connection so that together we can decide that regional New South Wales is the best place to be a creative.
My name's Siobhan Binks. I'm a freelance creative. So my business is called Siobhan Creative, very original. But I'm based in Deniliquin in southern regional New South Wales. I do all sorts of things. So I'm a designer, I do project management, copywriting, marketing, communications, websites, all sorts of things. I've always been a creative person. I went full-time freelance in 2018, so it's been about 6 years. And I was already doing projects and working with people locally, and I realized that I could make a whole business out of it and I could spend all of my time doing that. So that was really what inspired it. I think the most useful thing about being in the country is the relationship that you make with people that you actually work with, and that you can have the opportunity to do things and create, whether it's like a website or a new system or public art or tell a story that really can make change and make things better for your local community. And there's just so much more opportunity to do things that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do if I lived in the city. So I've done such a weird variety of projects, from creating children's books to designing and curating museums to doing public health campaigns or telling the whole history of the Women's Air Force in World War II and big public art projects. And you can't go through town without seeing something that I've made. I just would not have had the chance to do that and been given those opportunities in a city or in a city setting, which is where I was. And so I tell young creatives that all the time, that it may feel like there's no there's no arts here, but you can be the arts. And so this is this big blank canvas for you to create something on, and people around you will embrace you and support you, and it's just fantastic. So I really have felt that over my business, like starting my business in Denny, and the opportunities I've had, and I think that there's heaps of opportunity out in the country. As somebody who has a business that's all about creativity, but it's like by myself, I'm in a remote regional area, having the opportunity to come together with other women and other creatives and just talk about it, but also see what they're doing. We all seem to have similar challenges, but also are facing, similar opportunities. So we can share
what our experiences are has been really, really helpful. I also just think that a program like this, when it's done sustainably over 18 months, it's about skills building, it's about spending time thinking about your own business. It actually brings skills into a regional area that helps us over time. So I think that that's been the main thing for me, is meeting people and just spending time on my business. It's just been a real gift to be able to do that.
Hi, my name's Sharon de Valentin and I'm an encaustic artist from Griffith in New South Wales. I work with an ancient medium called encaustic, and that involves mixing beeswax and damar resin and dry pigments, and I heat this. So I work from hot to cold instead of wet to dry like a traditional visual artist. I also layer this on either a wood panel or a sculpture, and then I fuse it with a blowtorch. So it's quite an unusual, obscure medium that I work with. I fell in love with encaustic 6 years ago, and I haven't stopped sculpting and painting with it since. I'm a bit addicted to it, actually. I love pushing its boundaries. You can do so many things with it. And I also like to experiment, but I also do tend to admire its historical legacy. So the oldest encaustic paintings are 3,500 years old, which are the Egyptian death masks. My art practice is a slow process because I build all my wood panels to paint on, and I also craft my own armatures for my sculptures. I don't mind this at all because it gives me a lot of time to think, and I can also reduce all my waste products, which makes me feel really authentic about the pieces of work that I have as an end product. The challenges I find as a regional artist is not being in the city, not being able to go to all the shows and get inspiration from other artists. It's being connected to other people and other artists, and feeling what they feel and going through the problems they have that makes you a better artist at the end of the day. And because we're so separated in regional areas, it makes it really hard to connect. Which leads me to my next point of why work of art has been so inspirational for me. This project, the main thing that I have got from it is the connections I've made with the other artists, and they'll be connections for life, because it's just so invaluable to be able to talk to someone who understands what you're going through. But besides that, the Work of Art program has also given me great strategies for my arts practice, so the business side of it. I now know what my ultimate goal is. It's not about producing, or not just about producing beautiful art. It's about promoting sustainability, and it's also about educating people on how beautiful encaustic is, right from the humble bee to the finished artwork.
My name's Jeannie Nottingham. I live in Cowra, Central West New South Wales. I majored in photography and illustration at university about 1,000,000 years ago. And then about 8 years ago, I started working with bread tags and started creating art out of bread tags. And in the last couple of years, that aspect of my art practice has taken off. So it started when my teenage son would come home and devour so much bread, like just inhale it. You know, a sort of seed took hold where I thought maybe I could use the bread tags to create art to draw attention to single-use plastics and how bad they are, where I started creating art and writing and stuff about single-use plastics, in particular bread tags, as a symbol for that because it's such a recognisable shape and things. And so that's how the bread tag project started, and then it's kind of just progressed from there. A long time, I really chafed at being a regional artist, and I felt like I was at a distinct disadvantage compared to a lot of other artists, and resented what I thought was a lack of opportunities out here. I felt very lonely and very isolated, and I felt like there was limited opportunities. And then during COVID, I think with Zoom meetings becoming a thing and more people doing things online, I had time to research and I had time to connect with people that I wouldn't normally connect with. And I started to realize that living regionally was actually a wonderful thing. It's been really important because it's allowed me to see that it's okay to have a creative business or creative practice where I have an area that makes money and is commercial, and balance that with a conceptual art practice. So recently I've been spending more time on my conceptual art stuff and not as much time on the business side of things, and felt very guilty about that. I wasn't quite sure which direction or how to juggle it. But this program's really helped me see that I can do both.
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm a landscape and nature artist working with acrylic and watercolour, and I live in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales. Originally, I was inspired by my nan and my auntie. They're both artists, and they really encouraged me to practice being a creative. So, about 4 years ago was when I really decided to make it serious, to start my art business. I joined with a friend and we started doing creative kids programs, offering holiday programs for kids, and we did a few women's workshops as well. And then we transitioned out of doing that, and then I focused more on learning how to sell my artwork in galleries and making my artwork into products. And I also am a surface pattern designer, so I use Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop to create patterns for fabric and wallpaper and stationery. Being an artist in Wagga has been absolutely wonderful. There's a fantastic artist community here, and they have really encouraged me and supported me to develop my skills and to encourage me to sell my work in galleries in town. And so I have absolutely loved being a regional artist. As a landscape and nature artist, I've got inspiration all around me every single day. I grew up on the farm and I actually lived in the big city for 16 years, and I felt that I couldn't really practice my art business in the city. I felt very constricted. But now back on the land, I just feel like, creativity flows easily. There's inspiration just outside my door every single day. The challenges that we face in regional New South Wales is probably just the isolation, working by ourselves in our studio or at home, feeling disconnected, and maybe not even knowing about what funding or grant opportunities are out there to support artists in our art practice. The Work of Art program has just been amazing. I've been able to connect with other artists from all over New South Wales, and not just painters, but people doing pottery and ceramics and photography and filmmaking and poetry and writers. It's just amazing to see how much creativity is actually out there in New South Wales. The Work of Art program has helped us to make connections with each other, but also to help each other, to support each other on our individual journeys. We've talked a lot, we've shared a lot, we've laughed a lot. We've shared our struggles and opportunities to expand our art business. And I've actually really enjoyed the business side of the Work of Art program as well, even though I have business foundations. It's been a good reminder to put those art business tools into place to actually do the business side of art. We'd much rather be in the studio creating and making our artwork, but we really need to practice putting the business side of things into place.
Hi, I'm Kiva Bonomi. I'm a musician. I work in Wingeloo, which is between Goulburn and the Southern Highlands. So I get to work in the Southern Tablelands, Southern Highlands areas. And I'm a regional artist. So I'm part musician, performer with piano and singing and being parts of all sorts of bands. I'm a community musician as well, so I conduct some choirs. And I'm also an educator. So I teach workshops and teach people of all ages, all different parts about music. I think it's just been part of me for as long as I can remember. I started dancing when I was 3, and on a trip just after I'd started school, I sang the 2 lines of the school song the whole way there. So my parents had to ask the lyrics for the school song so that they could learn the rest of it. But I think doing the arts just makes days go faster. I noticed when I was teaching music compared to teaching other subjects, the days were just faster and better and more fun. And singing is just, it makes me feel bigger than just me. So is there like an out of body experience? So how can you say no to that? I think being a regional artist, the best part and the challenge is that you have to be good at a lot of different things and be very flexible. So you can't be quite so niche most of the time. You need to dabble with a bit of this and a bit of that. And that's a great joy as well. It stops me from getting bored and gets me to interact with lots of different people and see music like doctors see medicine, that they have their specialties. They probably have to do a lot of other things as well. They're always teaching people, always learning. And I like seeing music like that, getting to experience lots of different areas, teaching people, learning from people forever. And what a joy that is, getting to dabble in lots of different areas of your subject. It's just helped me see it as a real thing and helped me call myself an artist. It's helped make it legitimate for me to be an artist. Seeing so many other women as our mentors and our peers who are doing amazing things in the arts world. And it's exciting, makes me want to be part of that. And it makes me know that I can be part of that and I am part of that already.
Hi, my name's Krish Burke. I am a producer from far south coast of New South Wales, and I have my own media business called Maybe Media. I've always had an interest in screen. Out of school, I started volunteering for Channel 31, in community television station in Melbourne. And I started as a news journalist, just me and a camera, catching breaking news stories. After Channel 31, I went more along the lines of print journalism. I was writing for online publications and magazines, working mainly in screen media and music. Up until COVID hit, and that's when the magazine that I was writing for, which was called Live Loud Mag, which was mainly covering live gigs, folded, and I had to go in a new direction. Because I'd started in screen and I'd always been around the screen industry, working as an actor, I wanted to go back, return to my roots of me and a camera, and so I started a media production company. Being a regional artist comes with a lot of challenges. It can be really hard sourcing work, and there's always a lot of travel involved, which means it puts us at a bit of a disadvantage to our city counterparts who generally don't have to travel far for work. They have consistent work. So in the regions, I really find diversifying your skills helps keep you employed. I do love living and working in the regions, though. It's with all its challenges, there's a lot to love about it. You know, I love the community that where I live. I love working with the same people and getting to know them so well. I love the freedom that it gives you. You know, I can be walking on the beach in the morning and then shooting in the bush in the afternoon. And I don't think the living and working in the city would give you that amount of freedom. The Work of Art program has been amazing for helping me network with other regional female artists. It's the business skills that it's been imparting, the workshops have been amazing, just filling in those gaps of knowledge and best business practices as well. And also the mentoring that has been incredible to be able to learn from people who are now at the stage where I want to be in a few years. So the Work of Art program has been really valuable.
My name is Kerry Morecambe. I'm an independent creative producer, focusing on specifically performance and visual arts. I am from Yass, New South Wales. I've been an arts worker for many years. I'm not quite sure how long, probably about 20 years to be honest. Um, what drew me? I began as a dancer actually, and studied under Bernard, people like Bernadette Wallong-Seen. I had already studied costume design, so this was my second kind of iteration of study, and found at that point in time that I was leaning more toward organising the opportunities rather than actually being within them. So I kind of ended up jumping into almost more like an arts worker kind of situation from the very beginning. So it focuses mainly on live performance. So live performance is actually, like, I find that is actually quite a really wide range. So dance is obviously my speciality. I find I lean into site-specific performance as well. Performance practitioners who are also visual artists. I also, with the costuming background, I have a textile practice as well. And costuming, of course. And then, so I also lean into community engagement quite heavily as well, predominantly in visual arts at the moment. And so I work with groups like Weave Parramatta and the Adorned Collective. So being regional means that you're always on the move, in particular because I go to the projects, or the projects happen in other places. So ultimately, I guess I'm in my little home office in Yass, and I might be talking to someone in Scotland, or I might be talking to someone just down the road, or in Sydney, and then I'm on the road to present a work or engage with a community, or gosh, all sorts of things. So the challenge is managing family in the middle of all of that. Performance and performing arts is probably the least friendly toward families in the background. So in the foreground, I think you can kind of, there's this incredible, wonderful kind of opportunity to really kind of engage with families and have families at opportunities and presentations or productions. In the background, there's a lot of work that happens late at night. And takes me away from my family a fair bit.
I'm Beth. I live and work on Dirrangunj land in the Bega Valley, and I am a dance artist, maker, educator, facilitator. My journey into dance was quite a traditional one, training as a young person, but my journey as a dance artist happened once I arrived at uni and realised the potential to collaborate with other forms and participate intellectually and cognitively in a creative process. It was there that I became really fascinated with the body and how things function, and having a real physical kinesthetic understanding of what's going on in here and how to work with that creatively and expressively, and how to tell story or build empathy from the viewer by understanding this thing, making sense of the body. And I think that real desire to understand it and understand its capacity for expression is what keeps me going, and keeps me going as I'm aging and as my body is changing. I love working in the regions because of the space and the relationship to the environment that comes into my work in the everyday. Sort of your work becomes defined by the place in a way that I think you can avoid, or you can kind of dull out of your practice in the city in a way. But I'm fairly new to the regions. I've been here 3.5 years. So I really saw a distinct change in the way I responded to weather and environment and temperature, and this capacity to bring the world into the studio and my studio out to the world. I think working as a dance artist in the regions can be quite isolating. So I really have to prioritize finding other people to work with to bring with me in the studio. Sometimes from other art forms as a way to keep myself accountable to the process, to keep myself in the work. It's a form that requires investment and conversation and other bodies to stay alive. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges I found moving to the regions is how do you keep it? How do you keep it in practice when you're by yourself?
Pushing to each other and then change that momentum and force. Yeah. So into a reach, push, and then how do you find a pull from that space? Yeah. Yeah.
The work of art program has really helped me build my confidence and my capacity to articulate and advocate and talk about my work. It's really helped me define all these kind of disparate components of my work as an independent maker, as someone with a role in an arts organization, and also as someone restoring a building and turning it into a creative space. And work of art has helped me bring all those three things into coexistence rather than considering them as separate entities or separate parts of myself. And that's really helped me frame up a more holistic practice or understanding how those things actually feed and support each other rather than compartmentalizing my brain.